Hello, hello. Coming at you with another very early morning edition of TV Talks because I guess A, this is what I'm hyperfixated on right now, and this is the hyperfixation corner after all. And B, I got a comment very, very early this morning. God, what is wrong with my hair right now? Does my hair look weird? I feel like my hair looks weird. My hair looks weird. All right. So I got a comment very early this morning. I'll try and quote it directly, but I don't have it up right in front of me. But it was to the effect of, Sigh, do you know how boring a TV show depicting real nerds would be? Of course, it's exaggerated AF. And I've never been so excited to get an actually comment before, because I think that that is categorically wrong. And this is said with no hate, no ill intention in my heart towards this commenter. I just truly, in my heart, in my soul, believe they're wrong. And I am so excited to explain to you why. And I want to attack this from a few angles. First of all, if you didn't see the last video, this is in reference to the Big Bang Theory, and in particular, a portion of that video where I was talking about how nerd culture for a very long time was portrayed as gross, sweaty dudes in their mom's basements, or they were really violent and like gross and just blah. And I think even in that video, I said that. Actually, I'm kind of just realizing that this commenter didn't watch my full video, because I also later went on to say that The Big Bang Theory was kind of pivotal for Nerd Rep because it was the first time that nerds had been somewhat unfortunately realistically depicted. I did make sure to emphasize that it was only some nerds, because not all of us are you know, annoying sexual predators. But some nerds are definitely annoying sexual predators, so it was somewhat realistic. Am I saying that some of the people in the Big Bang Theory are absolutely sexual predators? Yes, I am. Where am I go? I got off topic. Oh, but in that video, I was saying that the Big Bang Theory, as much as I dislike it, was pivotal for nerd culture. And even though I would like to see nerd culture depicted even better in the future, that I acknowledge that Big Bang Theory was a big first step in realistically portraying nerds. But I still just disagree with this comment on so many levels. Now, if this comment had said, Sigh, it's a sitcom, of course they're unrealistic, that I would have agreed with more. Sitcoms make everyone a terrible person. Think of any sitcom. Are they all terrible people? Yeah, probably. That's kind of the formula of sitcoms. That's how sitcoms are funny, is they rely on their characters being terrible people and never learning their lessons and resetting at the beginning of every next episode. So, is it characteristic of sitcoms to have characters like The Big Bang Theory? Yes. In the fact that The Big Bang Theory is a sitcom, all of those characters are entirely in line with that genre. Your character does not have to be a shithead to be a nerd. Do you know how I know this? There are plenty of characters that do already exist. Like, I'm sitting here talking about, like, oh, more nerd rep. There are plenty of nerdy characters that are not shitty people. One of the first that comes to mind, a favorite of mine, is Willow from Buffy the Vampire Slayer. She is not a shitty person by any means. She is warm and kind and lovely. She is fun and she has friends, and she's a great character. She's so fun. I love her. She's one of my favorite TV characters ever, I think. So, like, even during that era, during that era where I am talking about, like, and even in that show, there is a storyline where the angry nerds, start killing people. But even in that show, they have a very realistic depiction of a nerd, which is that Willow is shy and queer, and she just likes reading her books and playing her games. That isn't that so that's so quintessentially nerdy. So already here we have a very realistic depiction of a nerd, and they're a character in a very not boring show. I guess if you think Buffy the Vampire Slayer is boring, that's your opinion, but I personally don't think it's boring. I like that show. I was very thrilled the first time watching it through. I only watched it like a couple years ago, and it was thrilling. It really was. I came prepared this time because I knew I wouldn't be able to think of nerdy characters off the top of my head. So I have my laptop and my blanket. I don't have to get up this time. Ooh. I set my MacBook wallpaper to be like different pretty landscapes. Amazing. One of the first to come up was Steve Urkel. He's very annoying. Oh, and the next one was Willow Rosenberg. See? Spencer Reed from Criminal Minds. There are a lot listed here. I'm only picking out ones that I know. But Spencer Reed from Criminal Minds, he's very nerdy. He's just a shy little nerd. Like, yeah, he's a cop. Honestly, that is the biggest reason that I don't like that show, is because they're cops. If they weren't cops, I think I'd like the show more. But people on the internet love him, and I have not seen Criminal Minds in a really long time, but to my remembrance, Spencer is just some guy. He's not an asshole, he's pretty nice, and he's just, people really like him because he's got the whole, like, adorkable autistic thing going on. He's a nerd. And the next one was Sheldon Cooper. Why is only Sheldon on here, but not the rest of them? They're all nerds. That's the point of the show. Velma. I mean, okay, that is not a realistic show. But I think Velma, well, she solves mysteries as a teenager, so I guess she's not a realistic character. But she's not an asshole, and she's not super annoying, unless you find Scooby-Doo annoying, in which case she is, and that's on you. Lisa Simpson. I haven't seen The Simpsons. So I don't know. Penelope Garcia from Criminal Minds as well. I remember Penelope being fun and personable and extroverted. I think that is a perfectly realistic depiction of a nerd. I've met people like Penelope. I think that they're super fun. Ross Geller, which is an example of a nerd who's an asshole, and guess what? He's from a sitcom, because sitcoms makes everyone's assholes. Spock, I'm not even sure I would call Spock a nerd. He's just a Vulcan, but any excuse to talk about Star Trek. It depends on how you define an asshole. If you think Spock is an asshole, I think he's an asshole sometimes, but also I think he's right a lot of the time. Freddie Benson from iCarly. I guess he does kind of have his whole like friend zone thing with Carly. That's kind of weird. Here. Ooh, okay, I found a Reddit thread. Shows with nerdy characters? Okay. This Reddit thread is telling me that I need to watch so many more sci-fi things. Like so many more sci-fi things. Or not just sci-fi things, but TV shows in general, because I am missing out on a lot. But yeah, so there are already depictions of nerds that I would call realistic to people who could exist in real life, existing in modern television today, and I would like to see more of that. Please and thank you. But also, most of those characters are side characters in bigger stories, which is definitely a way to make nerdy characters interesting by putting them in an interesting story, which I don't think I ever said that I wanted an all nerd show in that representation, that I wanted more nerd representation, which I keep every time I say the words nerd representation, I feel a part of myself die. I need to figure out different words for that. But I think if that you've wanted to go the all nerd show route, you could very much go for like a teen drama. That could be pretty interesting. Now, if you don't find teen dramas interesting, I don't know what to tell you. That's on you. You could make a, a genuinely nerdy main character, and I don't mean like she's so quirky and different, because she has brown hair and brown eyes, and sometimes she reads a book. She's so different. But I mean genuinely nerdy main characters, and I think that would make them very interesting. And in some ways, there is a credence, like a correctness to this comment. All fiction is exaggerated. That's what makes it interesting. But I'm arguing with the ethos of this comment, if you know what I mean. Another sort of superficial piece of evidence that I have is that I myself am quite nerdy. And I if you were to like make a TV show about my life, I think it would be pretty interesting. I have led a life, that's for certain. I also think there's a lot of interesting social commentary 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 to be held by the by nerd culture. And one of the best ways to have social conversations is through art, through TV. And I think another way to make nerd characters interesting would be to make sure that you like, if you are a nerdy person yourself, make some nerdy characters. You'll probably do them better than someone who is not nerdy. Oh, Quentin from The Magicians. I don't know if any of you guys ever watched that. I watched like seasons 1 through 4 and then didn't keep up after that. But Quentin is the main character, and he is explicitly very nerdy. He also does have the whole like in love with his best friend thing that like guy nerdy characters are, it's impossible apparently to not make them have that trait. But I think he's pretty realistic, exaggerated in a fantasy way, but pretty realistic. Anyways, that is like 1,001 reasons as to why I think that comment is wrong. And listen, okay, I am not going to do this all the time. This was a bad faith comment written on a video with less than 50 views. How? You know? So, but I am not going to often respond to comments in videos, but like this is just a subject that I have a lot of thoughts about and have been having a lot of thoughts about. I'm always here to push back on some actually everything sucks and everyone sucks and everyone sucks and everything is awful. I can't believe the first film video I ever made on this channel is about the Big Bang Theory. How'd that happen? How'd that happen? Anyways, this is a great reason to talk about some shows that weren't The Big Bang Theory, so thank you very much for that comment. I am very glad that I got to make this video, and please go forth and write your nerdy characters. Write them into your fantasy stories and your sci-fi stories and your procedural dramas and whatever else, because it delights me to see them, and I'm sure that it delights many other people to see them as well. They don't all have to be Sheldon Coopers. They don't all have to be violent nerds. And I also, like, all of these people that I mentioned were white. uh yeah, all of them were white. I think Steve Urkel was on the list, but he is annoying, admittedly. So I would also love to see just more like variety of nerds, because nerds come in all shapes and sizes and like varieties. So I would love to see nerds that are people of color, nerds that are plus size. I guess Penelope is plus size, but that's one person out of a list of like how many did I pull? Exactly. I would love to see more like genuinely neurodivergent nerds. Oh. So my light died. Hold on. Okay, I'm back. What was I talking about? Oh, genuinely neurodivergent nerds? That's something we're starting to get a little bit more of, and I would love to see because let's be real, it's kind of most of us. It's kind of most of us. But yeah, just more variety. Okay, now I'm back. I would also okay. As much as I've listed some characters that I love, and I think a lot of you probably also like or love, I think we can all agree that the nerd character is not always the best written character, especially when they're used especially when the nerd is a nerdy trope rather than a nerdy character, if that makes sense. Where someone is having a nerd character in their story for the sake of having a nerd character in their story and saying, like, oh, one of them's a nerd, the other one's a jock, or the other one's a cheerleader, or like whatever. I I think that for a long time the nerdy mind has been fundamentally misunderstood, and that's led to a lot of like not very well written characters. Just like, well, not just like, but there are a lot of kinds of people that Hollywood doesn't know how to write because they've just like never encountered them, never thought about them, never considered about them. They don't have anyone like that in the room. I think nerds have a bigger or no, a smaller hit or miss ratio because I would assume that there are some nerdy writers in the writers room. But we can all admit they're not always the best written character, and I would like to see some well written nerds. I think I keep talking about Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I swear I don't like Buffy the Vampire Slayer that much. Or at least I didn't think I liked Buffy the Vampire Slayer that much, but this is now like the 5th time I'm mentioning it in 2 videos. But I think Willow is a pretty well written nerd. I have never loved her. I don't get why she couldn't just be a witch and why it had to be Willow's turning evil. I didn't really like the Willow turning evil plotline. You guys can feel free to disagree with me about that or agree with me about it. But other than that, I think she's a pretty well written character. And I would like to see more like that and more, even better writing for nerdy characters. And especially, as I was saying, nerdy characters of color, plus size nerdy characters, neurodivergent nerdy characters. I would like to see it. And I keep saying nerdy representation, but I don't mean it in a way of like nerds need representation because da-da-da-da-da. I just mean it in like it's something that I enjoy and something that I like seeing. So if you are a writer, either of books or TV or movies or anything, and you were hesitant for whatever reason, this is a very specific situation, but to put a nerdy character in your story, please go ahead and do it, especially if you think you can do it well, because people like me will really appreciate that. Also, I need to learn to hold the mic still. Maybe I need to get this hand out so I can talk with this hand and hold this. Maybe if I switch hands, maybe that'll help. Anyways, I think I finally said everything I wanted to say. Somehow, I feel that this one will be less coherent, even though I've had more sleep and less Tylenol PM and less weed. And somehow I think that this will be less coherent. I don't know how that happened. I don't know what I'm going to talk about next. I don't even know if it'll be TV talks. I wasn't planning on doing 2 TV talks in a row. I just got this comment and was like oddly really excited about it. Have you ever been excited to get like a low-key hate comment? Me either, but for some reason this one was real exciting. I should probably eat food because it is breakfast time, or take a walk or something, or I don't know, do something that isn't sit in my room and complain about TV. Anyways, this was fun. I had a great time. I had a really great time filming and editing the last one, and I've had a really great time filming this one. So maybe expect more TV talks. Maybe expect other things that aren't TV talks. I have this bag that I keep meaning to like come and show off. I don't know why I haven't. I don't know. I don't know why I haven't. I just haven't yet. So maybe you'll see my bag soon. Well, you can already see my bag on shorts. Please go look at my last shorts reel of my bag actually, because it only got one view. One view. That's more embarrassing than getting no views. Because I'm pretty sure the one view was me. That's never happened to me before. Like, I've had duds. I've had a lot of duds. Things that only get, like, 5 or 6 views or don't break 10, but one. One. So please go look at my last reel. Like, subscribe, comment, even if it's a hate comment, because apparently some of them are really exciting to me, apparently. And I will see you maybe later. Goodbye. ah. Hi, sorry. Oh my god, one more thing. I know that I'm a channel with literally 100 subscribers, or well, 101 subscribers actually. But don't go look for this comment just to go like dislike it or argue with him or them or anything like that. There's no point. Don't do it. There's no point. There's no need. It didn't upset me that much. Obviously, I'm not upset. And I got a lot of content out of it. So thanks for that comment. And if you would like to leave a nicer comment, I would really appreciate that. And like I said, I only have 101 subscribers, but that is genuinely kind of exciting to me. And there are about 6 or 7 of you who watch my videos on a regular basis. And that really warms my heart, whether I know who you are or don't know who you are. In fact, I think I only know who like 4 of those 6 or 7 people are. So to the 3 or 4 of you who I don't know, thank you so much. And to the people who I do know who continue